Welcome to Meet the Candidate 2021, and my guest for this session is Karen Kerney, who is running for Spokane City Council in District 3. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I told you this is just the get acquainted in the waiting room kind of conversation.
I like it. I like the waiting room conversation.
Okay, well, so tell me about where you grew up.
Well, Spokane. 5 generations of my family have lived here in Spokane. And my first residence was 1816 West College. My dad was in the Navy, and I was born at Fairchild Air Force Base. And the first home I had was in the 3rd District, my grandmother and my grandfather's place. And my mom lived there while my dad was overseas. So I grew up in the 3rd District, and I went to St. Charles Catholic School. And from there, my family moved to Seattle when I was about 11. And bottom line, that's where I started my career in banking, where I graduated from high school, from Lincoln High School. And for 35 years, that was my home. However, I never forgot Spokane, and I never forgot how much I loved it. And I even had dreams about it, if you can believe that.
So what prompted a move back home?
Well, my husband and I, at the time, we decided that we wanted to go to spend some time in Montana, and so we built a home over there. But it just wasn't, Spokane, and so we decided to move to Spokane. I still had relatives there, and so we moved to Spokane and found a house, and here I am, 24 years later, and I love being back.
Okay, 24 years ago, it was probably easier to find a house than it is this
You
summer.
have no idea. So, the traffic was less, the housing prices were less. It hasn't changed that much, though, except for a few more people moving in and some of the situations we've had with COVID, and it's still Spokane.
It is.
Yes, it is.
So in those early years, one of the things I like to ask folks about is a first job, your first time that you connected your effort to pay.
Well, I graduated from high school, and I had worked at a hospital in Seattle, and I was a cashier during school, and I had basically learned to count money, and so I thought, I think I want to do something else. So I applied at a bank in Seattle, and I was hired, and I started filing checks. And so I filed checks, and then I went up the ladder to the point where I oversaw 16 branches in the metropolitan area of Seattle, up to Anacortes, to North Bend, and was responsible for auditing, for operations, for going in and working with different entities like the FBI and the Secret Service when it came to bank robbery situation, and wrote legal manuals for the banking, and also was responsible for all the budgets for that particular bank branch.
That sounds like a fascinating interview
Oh,
in
it
itself.
was. I loved banking. That getting to know the people and the customers was really great.
So was that totally a work your way up from the inside?
Pretty
or did
much,
you do some other training?
Yeah, I started filing checks, and then I went to be a teller, from there customer service rep, and just kind of took financial education classes, and got to the point where I got my certificate from the Financial Institute in Chicago, and just worked up and up and up, and decided that's what I wanted to do. So, and that's what I did, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Very, very cool. In that, besides Seattle and Montana, is there some other travel that you've been able to do that has given you some learning, some insights?
Well, I went to college at 62 and graduated Phi Theta Kappa here in Spokane at the Falls. And that gave me a really good idea of what was happening in the culture, the drug culture, and the homeless culture, and mental health issues. So I needed to take that because I was very interested, and I have served many nonprofits and been on city boards for the entire time I've been back to Spokane. So that was really interesting, and I went to work for Excelsior actually they asked me to go to work for them before I graduated, and I was a community outreach and development coordinator, and I decided to move on. I figured 6 supervisors in 1 year was enough. So I decided to move on and do something more for the community. And so I opened the gathering place down on Driscoll Boulevard for seniors. For every Tuesday they could come in and have coffee. In my neck of the woods, we don't have a community center. We don't have a senior center. We don't have a cop shop. So having that and getting STA to pick up these folks without cost was something that I thought was really important. So I did it with no overhead. And it's a place where they go now since COVID has kind of relaxed a little bit, where they can go and talk and read the paper, have some coffee. And I think that's very important. Serving my community is really important to me, and I've done it. I think I've been a person that serves ever since I was like 3 years old, and my sisters got lost at an Easter egg hunt on Manitou Park. And so I took both their hands and I went up to the MC and I said, "Excuse me, we're lost." And it just went from there. I've always been a person that has provided service to other individuals. It's a good feeling, and it makes you feel whole, I think.
Well, you've covered a whole lot of ways that a person can be of service. Why take the step to run for elected office? That's a whole different level.
The way that I feel is I've been chair of my neighborhood council for 9 years. And in that time, I have closed drug houses. I have handled traffic issues, environmental issues, issues that pertain to a neighborhood. And because of what I've done in my neighborhood council, I want to go forward and do it for all the other neighborhood councils in the 3rd District. I believe that I have the education, the experience, and the desire to serve. And that's what it's all about to me, is the desire to serve and make what the city says is true, that you don't have to move to live in a better neighborhood. So I hold them to that. And I'm very tenacious, and I will stick on something until it's right. So that's just me.
Well, that's a good lead in to that last question, which is,
Yes.
Every candidate has to have an elevator speech. What's your 1-minute answer to the question of why should people vote for Karen Kerney for Spokane City Council, District 3?
I think they should vote for me because I have proven leadership and proven results. I get things done. It's a full-time job for me to be able to be on a situation with an individual in my neighborhood that can't get something done. I know how to get it done, and like I said, I'll stay on something until it gets done. And public safety, infrastructure, believe it or not, I do have a plan for the homeless and also affordable housing are all issues that we're looking at right now. And I think we have to go cautiously into the future. But, I've seen the past of the 3rd District, and I live in its presence, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen for the future. So that's why I'm running.
That's a good place to leave it. Looking forward to the future. Thank you for coming today, Karen.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
What does it mean to be awake? It means to truly understand the issues facing us and actively participate as a citizen in this country. One way you can do that is by voting your values, based on the Word of God. We believe We Vote has done the research and provides you the information you need to make an informed decision on which candidates will champion our values and work for us. Now is the time to rise up, get involved, and vote. WeBelieveWeVote.com.
Hello, Spokane. This is Governor Mike Huckabee. I'm going to be speaking at We Believe, We Vote's October 2nd fundraiser. It's more important than ever for Christians to come together and to vote. I'm looking forward to seeing you on October the 2nd of this year. For tickets to the event, go to WeBelieveWeVote.com.